morning, sir. As per given topic that I will be discuss on you, let's talk about the police system of Canada. Ito po yung overview ng Canada. Police Agency, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Department, Public Safety Canada. And ranks po nila, ang highest is Commissioner and ang lowest is Cadet. Type of law enforcement, decentralized. Estimated strength po ng Canada is 30,196 as of 2019, and ang motto po nila is Uphold the Law. Historical background, 1868, Dominion Police responsible for policing the mainland of Canada. The Dominion Police was originally a small protective force organized by the federal government in 1868 to guard the Parliament buildings in Ottawa following the assassination of Thomas D.R.C. Marc. It also provided bodyguards for government leaders and operated an intelligence service whose agents affiliated in Fenian Brotherhood. Later, the Dominion Police assumed responsibility to protecting naval dockyards in Halifax and Equalmont, the National Fingerprints Bureau, the Parole Service, and the enforcement of law relating the counterfeiting and white slavery. During the WI, its duties were expanded to coordinate the efforts of police and security agencies in Canada to enforce the provision of the War Measures Act on February 1, 1920. The Dominion Police was absorbed by the RCMP. 1873, Royal Northwest Mounted Police. Northwest Territory, most populous state in Canada. Northwest Mounted Police. The Northwest Mounted Police, known as NWMP, was the forerunner of Canada's iconic Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Created after Confederation to police the frontier territories of the Canadian West, the NWMP ended the whiskey trade on the southern prairies and the violence that came with it. They helped the federal government suppress the Northwest resistance and brought order to the Klondike Gold Rush. The NWMP pioneered the enforcement of federal law in the West and the Arctic from 1873 until 1920. So this is the badge of RCMP, badge of the RCMP, and the corps of the RCMP. Birth of the Canadian Police Service, 1920. Birth of RCMP. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, known as RCMP, as police services are the constitutional responsibility of provinces and territories of Canada. The RCMP's primary responsibility is the enforcement of federal criminal law, and sworn members of the RCMP have jurisdiction as a peace officer in all provinces and territories of Canada. However, the service also provides police services under contract to 8 of Canada's provinces, all except Ontario and Quebec, all 3 of Canada's territories, more than 150 municipalities, and 600 indigenous communities. In addition to enforcing federal legislation and delivering local police services under contract, the RCMP is responsible for border integrity, overseeing Canadian peacekeeping missions involving police, managing the Canadian Firearms Program, which licenses and registers firearms and their owners, and the Canadian Police College, which provides police training to Canadian and international police services. Dominion Police and Northwest Mounted Police was merged to form the RCMP. During the First World War, members of the RNWMP were exempted from military services because they were needed on the home front to discourage acts of enemy sabotage. In 1920, the RNWMP merged with the Dominion Police to form the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or known as RCMP. So this is the organization, National, Division, and Detachment. In National, the RCMP is organized under the authority of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Act. In accordance with the Act, it is headed by the Commissioner who, under the direction of the Minister of Public Safety, has control and management of the force and all matters connected therewith. In division, the RCMP divides the country into divisions for command purposes. In general, each division is coterminous with a province. For example, C division is Quebec. In detachment, a detachment is a section of the RCMP that polices a local area. Detachments vary greatly in size. The largest single RCMP detachment is in the city of Survey in British Columbia, with over 1,000 employees. The RCMP is unique in the world since it is a national, federal, provincial, and municipal policing body. The RCMP provides law enforcement at the federal level. It also provides provincial policing in 8 of Canada's provinces: Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and the Saskatchewan, all except Ontario and Quebec, and local policing on a contract basis in the 3 territories, Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and Yukon, and more than 150 municipalities and 600 Aboriginal communities and 3 international airports. So this is the RCMP organizational chart, RCMP insignia, and RCMP uniform.
Prior to the application process, potential candidates need to meet the minimum requirements. The following list of application requirements applies to most police agencies in Canada. Be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. Be proficient in the English and or French language. Have a Canadian high school diploma or equivalent. Be in good health. Meet the vision standards. Meet the hearing standards. Meet the necessary level of physical abilities. Have a good character. Have no criminal conviction and no criminal charge pending. In addition to the above list, each police force adds its own list of requirements. Those applying for the RCMP need to meet the following additional requirements. Permanent resident application need to have resident in Canada for the last 10 years. Be at least 19 years old. Possess a valid and restricted driver's license. Be able to spend 26 weeks at the RCMP Academy in Regina. Be willing to relocate anywhere with Canada. Not have status that depict or incite hate, harassment, or discrimination against individuals on the basis of the grounds listed in Canadian Human Rights Act Section 3. Not wear any personal effects on the body that may interfere with the personal protective equipments. A 3 to 6 months police training program is provided. Physical agility, strength, fitness, and vision requirements but be met, and psychological or other tests may also be required. Experience as a constable and the completion of specialized courses are required for detectives and sergeants.
This is the firearms and equipment of RCMP.
Practice. Royal Canadian Mounted Police and Women Peace and Security through the Renew Canada's National Action Plan. The Action Plan on Women Peace and Security, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, reaffirms and strengthens its commitment to advance gender equality and the participation, empowerment and protection of women, girls, in pursuit of peace in fragile and conflict-affected situations. The Action Plan recognizes Canada's roles in ensuring that police programs and initiatives abroad positively impact the deserved groups of women and girls living in this insecure environment. The RCMP contribute to Action Plan 2017 to 2022. Action Plan that security of women and girls is closely linked to broader international security, and as such, women and girls must be considered and empowered in the establishment of global peace and security. The RCMP is responsible for providing duty of care support to Canadian law enforcement personnel while in mission and during their reintegration at home. Priority areas for action on women, peace, and security in the renewed National Action Plan. Strengthen governance and accountability at home and abroad. Enhance capability to undertake WPS and GB plus analysis in the design and planning of gender-sensitive programming. Enhance gender-sensitive elements within police peace operation programming in fragile and conflict-affected states, including preventing and responding to sexual exploitation and abuse, and continuous focus on deploying more women peace officers in international peace operation mission, especially in senior and or influential position. Ontario Provincial Police. Ontario Provincial Police is the provincial police service for the province of Ontario, Canada. In the late 1940s, policing functions were reorganized in Ontario with the OPP given responsibility for law enforcement in the province outside the areas converged by municipal police force together with the overall authority for all enforcement on the King's Highways, enforcement of the provincial liquor laws, aiding the local police in maintaining a criminal investigation branch. Parents Agency, Ministry of the Solicitor General motto, Safe Communities, Assure Ontario highest rank commissioner, lowest rank provincial constable, strength 5,618 of 2019. The Ontario Provincial Police OPP is the provincial police service of Ontario, Canada. Under its provincial mandate, the OPP protocol provincial highways and waterways, protect provincial government buildings and official patrols unincorporated areas, and provide support to other agencies.
So this is the badge of the OPP, shoulder flash of the OPP, and the flag of the OPP.
Historical background. At the first Parliament of Upper Canada in Niagara on the Lake on 17 September 1792, a provision was made for the formation of a police system. In 1845, a mounted police service was created to keep the peace in areas surrounding the construction of public works. It became the Ontario Mounted Police Force after Canadian Confederation. In 1877, the Constables Act extended jurisdiction and gave designated police members authorization to act through the province. Organization. The Ontario Provincial Police providing policing service to areas of Ontario not policed by a regional or municipal police service. Municipalities can also be policed by OPP under contract with 3327 as of 2020. Rank classification. The rank structure within the OPP is the paramilitary or quasi-military in the nature. Like most North American law enforcement service, with several non-commissioned head ranks leading to the officer ranks. Detective ranks fall literally with the uniform ranks and is not a promotion above. Police constables in the OPP are uniquely known as provincial constables.
This is the OPP insignia and uniforms, firearms and equipment. Police cars of the OPP.
Best practice. Population organizations across Ontario have responded to the changing needs of an increasingly diverse population for many years. These efforts have included training projects and in some places efforts to recruit members of underrepresented groups. Best practice for leadership. Police service boards and police chiefs share commitment on ownership and ultimate accountability for human rights organizational change, and as co-sponsor make a public and official statement of the shared commitment. Involve police board member and the police chief directly in overseeing changing efforts possibility through regular sponsor meeting consistently and visible reinforce their commitment through personal statement of support by organization leaders at key event during the change efforts. Consult with human rights experts and key stakeholders in direction setting activities. Best practice for comprehensive organizational changing strategy development elements of a comprehensive human rights organizational change strategy by include organizational strategy, vision, and values statement, organizational police practice, and producer governing employment system, including complainant and accommodation process, programs and service, procurement, physical infrastructure, and technology, organizational governance, leadership, and stakeholder relationship, performance management, monitoring and evaluation, professional development and training, communication and reporting, a clear direction policy that provides a formal context for the work of human rights organization change.
So, in Quebec, abbreviated SQ, is the provincial police force for the Canadian province of Quebec. The primary function of the Surete du Quebec is to enforce provincial laws, some municipal bylaws, the criminal code, and many other laws throughout Quebec, and to assist municipal police forces when needed. Parent agency, Ministry of Public Security of Quebec. Highest rank is Directeur General and the lowest rank is Team Leader. And the strength of Quebec is 5,269 as of 2019. So, the historical background of Quebec is on February 1, 1870, the Quebec provincial government created the police provinciate du Quebec under direction of its first commissioner, Judge Pierre Anthony Doxet. Quebec has had some level of policing since 1651, but a modern forces was not established until 1843 under the leadership of Robert Henry Russell.
So this is the badge of the Surete du Quebec, coat of arms granted by the Canadian Herald Authority. Surete du Quebec is a provincial police force whose role complements that of the municipal police force. It carries out specialized investigations on issues such as economic or organized crime.
Rank classification. Rank insignia of the Surete du Quebec are contained on slip-on sleeves, worn on the epaulettes of uniforms, jacket of shirt shoulders. Constable agents do not have any insignia on their uniform. The SQ formerly had the rank of corporal above the constable rank. Team leaders have an epaulette with the words Chef d'Equipe. Early uniforms were British in origin, including the use of the custodian helmet, with the kepi later added as well. The service adopted a uniform with a more distinct green tone as well as a peak cap in the 1960s. The emblem of the service changed in the 1970s when the old provincial coat of arms gave way to the fleur-de-lis. In late 2016, Martin Prudhomme, Director General of the SQ, announced the uniforms would be changed. Shirts and coats will be a darker shade of olive green, patches, caps, and bulletproof vests will become black and pants blue-black. One of the jurisdiction for the changes was that the old green uniform was too similar to that of a soldier's. Surete du Quebec, insignia and uniforms.
Surete du Quebec police cars. Equipment. The standard issue weapon of the SQ is the Glock pistol, loaded in 9x19 mm Barabellium caliber. Various models have been adopted such as the standards Glock 17 General 3, Compact Glock 19, and Subs-Compact Glock 26. Tactical officers use the C8 CQB close. Practices. Duties of a police officer protects life and property through the enforcement of law and regulations, proactively patrols assigned areas, responds to calls for police service, conducts preliminary and follow-up criminals and traffic investigations, conduct interviews.